What is up, people? Medic Man Dan here, and today I wanted to blow your minds with some AncestryDNA results. However, before we get into that, I wanted to introduce you to a very, very special person, and that person is my wife.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Woo! Welcome, Ariel, to my channel.
Thank you for having me, Daniel. Big sacrifice to get here.
I know, you literally walked from the kitchen here, but thank you for making that sacrifice to be here today. Ariel will be joining us for this installment, and I just want to say this before I forget that Ariel has a YouTube channel, a social media presence.
I've got everything, baby.
Everything. So I'll put her links and whatnot in the description below. Let's get started. Results day. I'm excited to share with you, even though it's not your DNA. So, first things up here is...
Oh, shoot, that is quite high.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that was going to be in there, but 43% Nigerian?
Yeah. I think that most Jamaicans may have a high proportion of Nigerian in their DNA, although I didn't expect it to be so high. So, the next one actually took me out as well. I didn't expect this. And that is England, Wales and Northwestern Europe at 15%. Firstly, my family actually emigrated from the Caribbean to the UK, and that's obviously where we've been based for a couple of generations now, and none of my family, my grandparents, have married or whatever with any British native people. So the fact that I've got such a high percentage just means that it's also been taken from the Caribbean and plopped over here. The second thing is that actually my name, McDonald Smith, was actually created by my grandmother, and I am in fact the first person, the first generation, to be born with that name at all in our family.
You were meant to be in Britain, baby. Your ancestors are calling you.
That's it.
15%.
What's the next one there?
Cameroon, Congo and Southern Bantu people. I knew that would be in there. It does kind of make sense because obviously your ancestors are from Africa.
So it's actually at 8% here. Honestly, the only time I can think of the Southern Bantu people was actually when I travelled to Tanzania when I was 18, and knowing that about 90% of the population are considered Southern Bantu or Bantu, that's probably the only time in which I've perhaps integrated.
How does it feel now having these results to know that you went to Tanzania not knowing at all that you had this in your DNA, and now you've been there and be like, that's my ancestry?
I think it's pretty cool because really it just makes me think about how these individuals, wherever they come from, integrated into a bloodline that obviously produced myself and my siblings. And that's probably the most interesting thing. There's a whole history, particularly with imperialism and slavery, that kind of accounts for what's going on here, and it definitely has made me more interested in where I come from, perhaps where I'm going. You know, I don't know if I'm going to live in the UK or any other country for that matter, but I definitely feel that as we trace where we come from, we can definitely predict a bit better where we want to go and how we want to give back. So that was a really cool question. Next one, Benin and Togo. To be honest, 7%, pretty small countries. I didn't expect them to be so high or to have such a large contribution. And to be honest, I didn't expect them to be on here at all. The next one was probably the one I was most excited for. I won't lie. What's the next one?
It's Southern and Eastern India.
Nice. And that's at 7%. This was expected because my great-grandmother is actually Indian. She emigrated from India to Jamaica, which is where she met my great-grandfather. My grandfather is one of 22 children. 22 children.
Busy times.
Okay? Busy times. And if I'm honest, okay, with that and the fact that my grandfather had at least 9 children that I know of, which is why I'm doing this in the first place, to find out more. Honestly, anyone who's in Jamaica, you're just my cousin at this point. I'm just going to call you cuz, because I have no idea, but I am probably related to you, particularly if you come from a certain place in Jamaica. Actually, do you know what? You're all my cousins right now. You're all my cousins.
I hope you're not my cousin.
No.
No. Please, no. So the next one is Ireland and Scotland.
Did you say that with a Scottish accent?
No, I just said
No. Fair enough. I like the fact that AncestryDNA separated from Northwestern Europe deal that was going on above. It's a nice way of like just specifying a bit more and giving a bit more detail and value for money. Quite happy with this. This was kind of what I expected. I know that I expected got great grandparents who are Scottish, or at least one anyway. I think it's a great somewhere great. I kind of expected it. It makes sense. And Ghana. So this is another one that my grandma said that you have in you. So the fact that that's here, 7%. Is actually the one that I was least surprised about. I think it was just going to be in there. I'm surprised that, you know, Europe and Northwestern Europe is in there so high. So the next few are Mali, and that's at 3%. And then there's Spain, obviously, as well. And that's at 1%. So it's kind of random, but I like that I've got a bit of Spanish in me. It's pretty sweet. And then there's obviously the indigenous Americas, and I'm actually quite happy with this as well. I didn't expect this at all, but I guess because the Caribbean and South America are so close and there was a lot of trade between countries back in the day, and it'd be pretty cool to kind of narrow it down a bit more into the indigenous tribes or whatever it may be of Colombia and of Venezuela respectively, to learn a bit more about them.
Yeah, that's gonna be happy with that.
Yes.
My dad is from Venezuela, Caracas.
I have a surprise for you, okay?
What?
Yes. And I kind of hid it for as long as I can, but actually, as I was doing my AncestryDNA and plugging it in there, I actually asked my dad to do the same. And he got his results before me, and this is what I want to show you today.
What? You have his results right now?
I have his results right now.
Ooh, double Christmas! Yeah.
Nigeria, 41%. Now again,
It's lower than yours.
yes it is. Now that's actually the point I wanted to make. Although a lot of Jamaicans obviously have a high percentage of Africa, particularly Nigeria, I didn't expect my dad's to be lower than mine, which was quite interesting to me. The next one on the list is actually southern and eastern India at 21%. Now I say 21%, but actually further down there's northern and western India at 1%. So it's technically around 22%-ish. And this makes sense because obviously it'll be his grandmother that immigrated from India, and therefore he's a high percentage of Indian. So next we've got Ireland and Scotland, and that was awesome. We've got the normal ones like Benin, Togo, Cameroon, Congo and Southern Bantu people. Mali is higher in my dad's than in mine. Ghana is lower in my dad's than in mine. But England, Wales and Northwestern Europe. What is that about? My dad has a solid 2% and I've got 15%. I don't understand the discrepancy there, but nevertheless it was obviously...
Probably from your mom's side.
There. Maybe from my mom's side then. Maybe, and I think that's probably accurate. Again, I think it'd be really cool to get my mum's AncestryDNA on here to kind of add her to the mix and give a little cheeky comparison. So then we've got Northwestern India, as I already spoke about, but then Norway. My dad has Norwegian.
What?
Yeah, he's 1% Norwegian. He actually has a cousin, or I have a cousin now, therefore, in Norway.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I actually wasn't expecting that.
And then obviously we have some indigenous American in there. I had Colombian, Venezuelan. My dad actually just has Central America in there. It's the same percentage. And that's it.
I quite enjoy that. I'm really looking forward to doing my results.
Yeah.
But I need to understand how AncestryDNA kind of works. Yeah, I don't actually understand all the features they have.
So I haven't spent a load of time on AncestryDNA simply because I just got my results. However, there are some quick features that pop out and stand out to me that I think would be really useful for you. First, your profile on AncestryDNA can be public or private. This means that people can see your genetic results and you can obviously see theirs. What AncestryDNA does that's really cool is that it ranks how likely you are to be related to that person.
What?
With a percentage.
No.
Yes.
So you can like follow your uni mates and you can check how closely you are related.
Yes.
Potentially.
Potentially.
I like the T in this.
You can add people to your family tree, and as you clarify the exact status of each member, your relationships with others also becomes more specific.
Okay, so can we have an example?
As an example, my dad. As I add him, I clarify that his brothers and sisters are therefore my aunts and uncles. And then this has ramifications for their children and others that they may be related to.
Is there any other features that will help people even further with their genealogy?
Yeah, definitely. So AncestryDNA don't just provide a genetic ethnicity test, but they also help in terms of providing hundreds of thousands of records that quite literally anyone can use, providing that they have a membership. Now, sadly, not all of these features are free. However, if you read my blog, what I do is use Family Search, which is free, and a number of other resources which kind of in combination allow me to find my family history and record my genealogy. This ethnicity test has honestly been a game changer, and if it is something that you'd be interested in, I'd highly recommend it, whether it be to find family or whether it just be for a little bit of fun, because honestly it's providing a medium by which I can find my family. This has been a really awesome advantage that I'd recommend to absolutely anyone.
Yes, and make sure to subscribe to Daniel's channel, okay? Slap that subscribe button right now, pow, and hit the bell button, yes. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up, and remember, share the love.
And with that, peace.